Today's video is brought to you by ablmerch.com. Grab your I Survived the Pandemic hats, t-shirts, stickers, mugs, and more through the link in the description box below. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about some big-time corruption in Rochester, New York. Now, this is not New York City. For you guys that don't know, it's way upstate, right on Lake Ontario, about an hour and a half east of Buffalo, Niagara Falls. But it's just like New York City as far as the corruption under Bill de Blasio. Now, the mayor of this town is named Lovely Warren, a black woman. The race does matter, unfortunately. We'll get to that a little bit later. Her husband, a black male by the name of Timothy Granison, just got arrested on drugs and guns charges. Now, she's saying, oh, this is politically motivated because I'm running this year and I don't sell no drugs. I don't have no guns. And she also said something interesting. She said that her and her husband are separated, and they have been for a very long time. However, from what I've seen on their local news out there, not national news yet, but local news out there in her town, that does not appear to be accurate. And in my humble opinion, she probably was in on it. I can't say that for sure. I have no idea. I'm giving you my opinion as a regular normie out there, just observing like everybody else. Now, before we go any further in this rabbit hole, let's go ahead and roll the news clip. In this clip, you're going to see much more detail on the whole situation after we get done watching that. I'll come back. I'll talk about what was said there. Then I'll give you the rest of my 2 cents, my deep detail analysis, and then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Kayla, the mayor's husband was actually one of 7 people arrested in a drug bust.
Timothy Granison was not the original target of this wire investigation.
DA Sandra Dorley says the mid-level narcotics investigation began 7 months ago, and at the time, Timothy Granison wasn't even on the radar.
This was originally an investigation that was led by the Rochester Police Department in Granite. During the course of that wiretap investigation, the evidence led us to Timothy Granison. At that point, in order to preserve the integrity of the wire, I asked that the New York State Police come in.
So far, she says they searched 7 homes and made 7 arrests, one being Granison. They have secured $60,000 worth of powder and crack cocaine, several guns, and $100,000 in cash.
We believe this whole organization was a mid-level drug organization that was infecting the city of Rochester.
Dorley says she believes the mayor is still living at 93 Woodman Park with Granison. She wasn't home when the house was raided, but her daughter was. State Police Major Barry Chase says the daughter was safe the whole time.
We took her father back to the residence, and we let him call her out so we could explain things to her. And then I contacted someone, and a family member showed up and removed her from the residence. So.
Police say they are trying to interview Warren through her lawyers, and Dorley wouldn't comment on whether the mayor could be implicated in the investigation or whether she was heard on the wiretaps. Live in Rochester, Kayla Green, News 8.
Kayla, thank you. Now, Sandra Dorley says one of the 7 homes searched yesterday was Granison's brother's, and also mentioned there's a relationship between Warren and 2 of the others charged in this case.
Let's ask ourselves why. Many emotions have gone through my head, starting with confusion, anger, betrayal, and hurt. I find the timing of yesterday's events, 3 weeks before early voting starts, to be highly suspicious. Let's ask ourselves why, at the exact time that the police were knocking at my door, the New York Times, all the way from Manhattan, was sending me an email asking me about this. Finally, we need to ask ourselves, if this is not about politics, why is Tim's next court date June 21st, the day before primary day? Now that's quite the coincidence. Now, when you figure out those answers to those questions, come find me, because I'll be working.
Now, just to note, the lawyer for Warren's husband, the defense, did say today they asked for a 30-day adjournment in the case. That's why the new date is on June 21st.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, there's a lot to, quote unquote, unpack here, as the cool kids say. I'm not really sure where to begin. First things first, elephant in the room. Sir, if what they're talking about as far as the months-long investigation, several houses being raided, you being busted with allegedly a ghost gun, one of those guns that you can make, by hand with no serial number on it. You got cocaine and money. If that's true, why? Why? I mean, your wife is a mayor in New York State. I mean, is she not paying the bills? Is it not enough money? I mean, good night. I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, well, he was just trying to get his life together. He was just trying to make a way. It's like, sir, you got a whole wife and at least one daughter. I'll talk about a daughter in a minute and the mayor. But you have a wife that's the actual mayor of the city. And if she got to be the mayor of the city, what was she doing before that? Just on the street, homeless, doing nothing? I'm sure that she has some ability to make money, as do you, without having to be a dope boy. I mean, good night. And how old are you, sir? I saw him in a little perk walk with his shirt over his head. He appeared to be at least in his 40s. But I don't know that. But he does not appear to be some 16-year-old just trying to get some Jordans or something stupid like that. This is a fully grown man running a whole drug empire, allegedly, when his wife is the mayor. How dumb can you be? You talking about hot. You firecrack. You're firecracker hot. You're lava hot. You're the center. You're the core of the sun hot. How dumb are you? It's just not smart to do a thing like that if what they said is true. Now, to the mayor, Lovely Warren, I know that you knew what was going on the whole time. How could you not know? You already done probably said something that wasn't true, or you were trying to obfuscate the truth. Talking about some, oh, we're separated, we're not together. I can't tell. They, meaning the media, probably getting that from the police, and the investigation lasted some months. They said that you guys were in the same house together with your daughter. So if you're not technically together, you're separated, but you're in the same house, how does that work? When my parents got divorced, they separated first, and they were not in the same house while separated. And if you've been like that for a long time, separated, meaning like you're not going all of a sudden go back and then exclude that part. You're in the same house. You were living at the same house. So I'm not trying to hear what you're talking about, ma'am. And again, you knew what was going on. You couldn't just say, you know what, I'm trying to become the mayor here again. I'm running for office again. Maybe you want to put the cocaine away, 45-year-old, 50-year-old man. I mean, this is so dumb. This is so silly. But this is a story in so many cities, so much corruption. Baltimore, Maryland comes to mind. We've seen that whole thing. One of the mayors getting caught with kids, what was that, gift cards? Remember the whole gift card scandal? I forget her name. You guys know what I'm talking about. The former mayor of Baltimore. Was it Catherine Pugh? I forget who that was. One of these mayors had all these gift cards that were supposed to go to like poor kids, but she ended up spending them or giving them out. It was really weird. It's like you get these people in there that just fleece the city. They fleece the state however kind of way they can rather than actually doing what they were hired to do, which is a job, representing your constituents. And you see the same thing. Baltimore, D.C., Detroit, Atlanta to a certain extent, all over the place. In D.C., you had, what was that, Muriel Bowser? She had a whole Black Lives Matter thing painted right there in front of the White House or nearby the White House. But after Trump left, she painted it over, talking about, oh, we're doing an electrical project. Okay, so you do electrical project right there. You can't repaint Black Lives Matter? Or was it only for just a political thing to show on TV to advance your career? Was it about the D.C. residents, your constituents, or was it about you and your own political aspirations? You see what I'm saying? You could do stuff like that, but how about reducing that crime? You're talking about racism and all this and that and the third, but yet all these places with the really high homicide rates, really corrupt systems run by, a lot of times, the mayor's black woman, city council, front and back, all black. So I'm not trying to hear this whole racism excuse when you got people that are not white running these cities from top to bottom. People could talk about a place like Georgia and say, oh, well, you know what? Brian Kemp's the governor. He's the guy in charge. Well, the governor has power, of course, but at a certain point, the city governance has power too. Brian Kemp just can't, rule by fiat over all the cities. Atlanta had a mask mandate when Georgia did not have a mask mandate. So Brian Kemp saying, hey, no mask, do what you want, self-regulate. But Keisha Lance Bottoms says, oh, we got to have a mask mandate. Keisha Lance Bottoms is the one that is hiring some of these people, the DAs and whatnot, that aren't doing anything. You're in charge of the police chief and they're not running the ship properly. At a certain point, people got to stop pointing the finger at other people and look internally. Shout out to all you guys for sending me this. Shout out to @NationTV for having this video on this channel. I did not watch his, really. I wanted to just kind of get a fresh reaction on the whole situation, a pair of fresh eyes on the whole situation. But this is crazy. This is totally crazy. They've not arrested Lovely Warren yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if she did get arrested or somehow implicated, because she knew two of the guys, aside from her husband, that she's still married to. How are you going to be the mayor talking about, oh, we're separated, so you can't get a divorce and you live in the same house? Stop playing games, ma'am. Stop playing. You guys still together, been together for a long time. This has been an ongoing thing. You got kind of a little drug cartel. Don't tell me you didn't know what was going on. So is your husband working? Does he have a job at all? Or is he just a full-time dope boy? So if you are at all observant, you see the cocaine, maybe, the guns, maybe. He's doing all kind of runs late at night. I mean, let's stop. Let's stop. But you know what? I'm going to add one last thing before I close with the bull on the top. I want to know if any of these guys that got caught up in the investigation, because a lot of guys got arrested, a lot of homes got arrested, a lot of money got seized. I want to know if any of these guys has gone through the legal process in Rochester and was given a slap on the wrist, a deferment, a case that had been dropped. Was there any DA that was hired to be favorable towards Lovely Warren's husband? I want to know that part. I definitely want to know. I'm very curious about that, because the whole vibe I'm getting from her is the kind of person that would do something like that, where it's like, all right, I'm going to let my husband do whatever he wants to do because we need the money. And I'm going to make sure that you have guys and girls in office that are going to do that for us. I don't want it to be the case, but that's kind of what it's seeming like. But as I close, I'll say this. This is a prime example of why this whole idea of racism is just so silly. It's a dumb argument to even have at this point in time. It ain't about racism or none of that. It's about corruption, people not doing the right thing. That's what it's really about. All this race stuff is just kind of silly, in my humble opinion. And I think you're going to see more stuff like this, and then the whole race argument is going to be much harder to make, if not impossible. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.